Hey everybody, Brian Vaughn, VA here, back at it again, narrating another set of MrRipper stories. Today we're going to be exploring self-sacrificing moments. You know, those little moments where you're trying to save a life by throwing yourself directly into the firing line of a bullet. Or something else metaphorically just as bad. That said, let's get right into what are your self-sacrifice moments in D&D. And if you have a self-sacrificing moment, go ahead and put it down in the comments below. Not only does it help Daddy Algorithm out, but we actually do read these things, and we might put it in a video very soon. I have a personal favorite character I've played in 2 campaigns. She's a Protector ASMR life domain cleric named, you guessed it, Torxena. She's back, ladies and gentlemen. Part of the reason I love playing her is because she's a very gentle and caring person who puts others before herself. And she strives to protect the party and make the lives of everyone around her better. Sometimes that involves helping the poor, the orphans, and the widows at the temple of her goddess. Other times, it involves calling down righteous fury and fire on those who would harm innocents. She's also my favorite character because I have had some of the best moments of my D&D life while playing this character. 2 of those moments involved her showcasing how far she was willing to go to save her friends. I've told the first of these stories here before, so I'll just touch on it as briefly as I can before I explain the second one, which happened last week. In the first campaign I played her in, we were on a quest to recover a legendary sword from a cavern under a mountain. The cavern was guarded by a lich and his Draco-lich friend. After a very long and hard-fought battle, we defeated the 2 of them and started to gather around and heal up, etc. when the big bad evil guy showed up and started monologuing. "Thanks for killing those 2 creatures. They were hiding something I need. You can take your other trinkets and leave. You're not really worth my time to deal with yet anyway. But just to show you my power, I'm going to kill one of you before you leave." He then walked over to our NPC guide, a high-level bard who was pretty well spent on both spells and HP at this point, and knocked him to the ground. He then stomped on his back hard enough to break it before casting Disintegrate on him. However, the bard's girlfriend, who was also Torxena's best friend, decided to Misty Step in front of the ray to take the hit for him, only for our Paladin to use his Aura of the Guardian feature to take the damage instead of her. The big bad evil guy, who had history with the Paladin, looked at him and said, "Oh, you again? I wasn't planning on killing you yet, but oh well, now's as good a time as any." Torxena knew she had to do something to stop him. He had essentially promised that he would only kill one of us, and she knew the only way to keep the NPC bard, her best friend, or the Paladin who followed the same goddess of life as her to die was to make sure she did. She stood in the big bad evil guy's face and said, "In the name of the goddess Ashea, I command you to stop!" His response? He laughed, spit on the ground, cursed Ashea, and cast a 9th level Disintegrate on her. She had 28 HP at the time. She knew she wasn't coming back from this, but she was at peace knowing that she had done her job. She lived to protect life, and she made sure her friends were safe one last time. Or so she thought, because the party immediately went and found someone who could cast True Resurrection and brought her back. The second time, we were in Skullport and had decided that Xanathar's guild's leadership of the city was too oppressive and needed to be ended. So we led an assault on Xanathar's guild headquarters in Skullport. We had pretty much torn through the place until we came face to face with Xanathar himself. The battle was intense, and Torxena was in trouble. She had recently gotten gauntlets of ogre power and had subsequently upgraded to full plate armor. Dun 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 dun! Unfortunately, however, beholders have an anti-magic field cone which disables magical items, including the gauntlets. Her strength is only 8 without them, so she was extremely over-encumbered, and she couldn't cast any spells because of the field. So, for most of the battle, she was simply trying to get the hell out of his vision. Just as she was about to get free of the anti-magic cone and start to join the fight, Xanathar hit the party's Herongon wizard with the dreaded disintegrate ray, and the party watched as he turned to dust on the spot. Torxena couldn't bring him back, but now she could use her spells, so she started putting hits against Xanathar while popping her wings to get some air, and some extra damage. Xanathar, didn't appreciate that. He hit Torxena with a petrifying ray, which she failed the first save on. Petrifying ray causes a target to be restrained if they fail a dex save, then petrified if they fail a second at the end of their next turn. Torxena failed the first and fell to the ground. She made the second after using up her inspiration for the session. The DM gives once per session inspiration to everyone at the beginning of the session. We get through the turn order once again, and it gets down to Xanathar's turn. By this point, Xanathar was hurting pretty badly. The rest of the party had run back to the other side of the room, so Xanathar turned to face them. This left Torxena as the only person outside of his anti-magic cone, as she was behind him. She made the save on the first of his 3 attacks, but she failed the disintegrate ray save and another petrify ray save. Thankfully, she was at full health at the time, and she's also resistant to necrotic damage, so the disintegrate ray actually wasn't that scary for her at that moment, even though she failed the save. But the petrifying ray was very scary, and she failed that save badly. Her turn was next, immediately after Xanathar. Now, as a player, I'd prepared Enhance Ability when we rested a couple rests ago. I knew I could cast that now that I was out of the cone of anti-magic and give myself a good chance to save on the petrification. But Torxena, that's not what she would have done. She just watched one of her friends get decimated and she couldn't stop it. But if she could kill Xanathar now, she might just keep one of her other friends from meeting the same fate. Guiding Bolt, 4th level, rolled a dirty 20 to hit, which was plenty. Rolled pretty high on the damage combined with her radiant soul damage from popping her wings. It was enough. Xanathar fell, and at the end of her turn, Torxena failed her save and turned to stone. In the end, I know that she will be back because the party had already done this dance once before when our ranger accidentally came face to face with a baby basilisk. We don't have a way to cast Greater Restoration, but we do know of a place where we can de-petrify things. And when she comes back, she'll fight on for her fallen friend, and do her level best to make sure we never lose another. My Paladin sacrificed himself to save the life of an innocent wizard and his hometown from an army of goblins. This was after he had been captured after we snuck our way into a goblin-controlled city to obtain some demi-dew, a material stretched by a powerful calamity which destroyed the city earlier in the campaign. And I decided to let it play out, hoping to work the situation in my advantage. Unfortunately, it did not work to my advantage. I ended up putting my character, his hometown, and the wizard keeping watch over the city in danger when I was forced to help them enter the wizard's tower. Inside, I discovered a teleportation circle, which I immediately destroyed to cut off the bridge between the tower and my paladin's hometown. Unfortunately, the wizard we were trying to save was still in the tower. When I realized he was there, I decided to use my trump card the DM had given me, a one-time teleportation to anywhere within a mile. But instead of teleporting myself, I teleported out the wizard, whom I had just doomed instead. This alerted the goblins to a real reason for being there, and they turned on him. He fought bravely, but they were just too numerous, and he fell that day. Playing a swashbuckler rogue with some rainbow parakeet wings. This will be important later, and it's also kind of cool. In a bullet cave. Oh god, this is gonna be bad. It was not going well at all for our party. Our last hope was the artificer jerry-rigging an explosive on the main supporting pillar to bring the whole cave down. Good job. But unfortunately, he goes down. Bad job. It comes to my turn, and I had 3 options. Stay safe in the air and take pot shots at the bullets while leaving the artificer to die, dash and disengage to fly out of the cave and leave the whole party behind, or shove a potion down the artificer's gullet and cause the explosion myself, most likely. Due to action economy, I knew there was no one else that could trigger it before the bullet's turns, but I did it anyway. I held my action to trigger the bomb until everyone was out, dodging the bullets the whole time. Once everyone was gone, I triggered it, bringing the whole cave down on me and the bullets. I would have died had it not been for a dex save and the sacrifice of my glorious wings that shielded me from much of the debris. We were on a ship chasing an enemy. We finally cornered him. The fight was long and hard. It ended up being so difficult that 3 out of 5 of our party members were down during the fight at separate times. I looked around at the party and saw how exhausted and beaten everyone was. I didn't think we could win without losing at least one member of the party. I was at less than 10 hit points by this point and decided this fight needed to end before anyone else died. So, I did the one thing I could think of to end the fight once and for all. I grappled him and tackled him off the side of the ship. Now, I was playing a Dwarf Paladin wearing full plate armor, so I sank pretty fast. I managed to keep the enemy grappled until he and I both drowned. The story does end on a happier note, though. My DM let me pray to my god and roll a D100 to have my god bring me back. I had to roll above a 90. That's the spirit. I love it. I rolled a 91. Yes! So after I sacrificed myself, my god brought me back with renewed holy energy. This is arguably my favorite moment in the campaign. I sacrificed myself for the greater good of my party. And the dice god saw that it was good and gave me my character back. That session was a lot of fun, and this is oddly my favorite story thus far because we had a really good use of the D100 mechanic. 10 out of 10. During one of the sessions, we were actually attacked by a giant tree. I don't know the details because I don't play it, but the DM said it was something he took from one of the Dark Souls games and adapted it to D&D. It was gigantic, and the area it could attack was big as well. We were next to an inn with quite a lot of innocent people inside. I shouted for the people to run and told the party to help them escape, especially since we were hurt already from previous fights. The people escaped successfully, and the ranged attackers of the group killed the tree. But my paladin stayed in close combat to distract the monster. Sadly, he didn't survive. Hey, one Estus flask is going to solve that problem real quick. Hey everybody, Brian Von VA here. Roll that D100, and no matter what you get, leave a like, subscribe, and ring that bell. Why? Because I'm sacrificing myself for all of you right now, and I need your power to bring me back to life. Do it, please. Please. No! I'm just fooling with you. But yeah, seriously, leave a like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you get notified whenever we post a short, or in case we go live, or when we obviously post a new video. That way you get notified for all of it in one single setting. And if you've got a story you'd like to share of self-sacrifice or something else that's possibly relevant to the title of the video, go ahead and do so in the comments below. The comments actually help the algorithm out, and plus, it's easy access for us, but we also take from our subreddit r/MrRipper. So both places work just fine. And if you want to check me out, I primarily do stuff on YouTube and over on Twitch, Brian Von VA. It's in the description below under my website, brianvonva.com. Come say hi, I swear, I don't bite. That said, I want everyone to know, whatever you want to go and do it. I was watching some clips recently from a very new movie at the time of this recording, and I just want to say there is a quote that stuck with me, and it's literally, don't think, just do. Whatever you want to do in this world, if you want to like learn to drive, if you want to learn to fly, if you want to run real fast or get in shape or learn to cook something, don't think about it. Don't think about the what ifs, the right, the wrong, nothing of that. Just do it. Because at the end of the day, you're going to need the practice, you're going to need the confidence, and more so, when you do it, think of it as if you're going to teach someone else to do it. Because that way you retain the information quicker and you pay attention more. And here's one last tip from Daddy Vaughn. If you ever want to learn something, just remember, practice it the moment you learn it. When you do that, you have another 75% chance of retaining that information and doing it well. I love you all. Be safe, be happy, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.